Hey guys, welcome back to the Business First Creatives podcast. My guest this morning is Celi, but I am going to let her tell you all about who she is and what she does. Good morning, Celi. Welcome to the podcast.
Good morning. It's so nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so thrilled. So, why don't you tell the listening audience who you are and what you do?
I will do my very best. This one's always a challenge for me. I'm a growth strategist. And what I really do is help entrepreneurs and small businesses blast through their plateaus through strategy implementation and spiritual mindset support.
I know I could probably use some mindset. We'll see what we do during this
It's
podcast.
actually the secret key. So
I think it is because
yes.
I will say that before I branched out, before I branched from photography into the Dubsado world, like it was a mindset. And you know this, I was like, can I really charge this much for this work? And so, I did have to do a little bit of mindset work myself. And I feel like when I was a photographer, I had the luxury of like growing the business at the pace that I wanted to. My daughter was, in school. And so I started slow and I really didn't try to become full time until Chloe was in school full time. So I've always had my prices at like what I wanted to charge and not like lower so that I could bring clients in. So I do think that that mindset really helped me grow the photography side of my business. But we're going to talk all about growth today. So the one thing that I think people get hung up on is metrics. And you and I are both nerds. We love metrics. So in general, what metrics should entrepreneurs be paying attention to in order to determine if their growth strategies are working?
Ooh, okay. She went in deep and fast.
I did.
Yeah. So I hate this answer. It does depend.
Okay.
I'm not a one size fits all, like fit into my box strategist. With that said, what I would want you to do is look at your business. So let's talk about a creative business, right? And metrics, I think the reason we don't look at them is because we overcomplicate them and we get intimidated by them. And so it's like the thing that we turn a blind eye to, and that becomes the thorn that's growing, right? But the metrics that to measure your growth are, what is the effort that you are measuring?
Ooh.
So let's think about it like this. Let's say I'm going to the gym because I want biceps. Okay. Let's just say, right? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't get on a treadmill and run for an hour. Number one.
Yes.
So this is the problem I see a lot of people do. I want biceps, so therefore I'm going to go to the gym and get on a treadmill. Right? Like I want to grow my business. So I will just keep doing more content marketing. Pet peeve of mine. So what metrics do is, okay, what I'm going to do is 3 times a week, I'm going to go to this trainer. She's going to give me specific exercises to do. I'm only doing them 3 times a week. And what am I going to do? I'm going to take a measuring tape and I'm going to measure my bicep and see how did it change week over week and month over month, right? Mm-hmm. That's all a metric is. Okay, so it's that simple. So when we're talking about growth in your business, I'm better with real life examples. Like, how do you get leads for your business? What is a typical way that a photographer gets leads from their business?
Oh, so I am a big SEO girl, but I know that many other photographers are not the same. But from the very beginning of my business, I put a lot of effort into blogging so that I was getting really organic traffic from the internet for people who were actually searching for, let's say, a family photographer in the Boulder, Colorado area.
Okay, beautiful. So that's actually perfection, because you didn't say, I'm active on all these social media channels and I blog and I speak and I go to, no, you just gave me one thing. Beautiful. By the way, everybody listen to Colie. I have one strategy, which is my blog and SEO. Cool. So you can probably go into your website and measure how many people are reading it.
How many visitors I'm getting. Mm-hmm.
How many visitors? That's your metric number 1 over here on the left side. Cool. 200 visitors. Of those 200 visitors, how many of them clicked on whatever call to action you had, whether it was sign up for my newsletter, listen to my podcast, or book a call, right? How many of those 200 converted into, she's kind of cool and she kind of knows something and I like her work. I'm interested. Because once they've clicked, SEO did the awareness work, but once they've come into your world, right? They've entered your funnel, they've clicked, they're engaging with you. That's basically somebody raising their hand and saying, I'm kind of interested. I don't know if I want to be sold to yet, but I'm curious, right? From those that clicked, what is the next step in your journey? And how many of them got on a call with you? From the call, how many of them converted
into a sale?
A sale. That's it.
But
That's it. That's
and
let's clarify.
Right. Okay.
I only want you to measure that journey. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I will say, so I did that from the very beginning. Now, if you asked me how many people are currently clicking on my website, I don't pay as much attention to it now. Because now I feel like I'm settled. I have the number of clients that I want on both sides of my business. They're both doing well. But in the beginning, that was literally the metric. I mean, if you asked me like 7 years ago how many visitors I got to my website that month, I could probably tell you. Because on a weekly basis, I was looking inside of my Google Analytics to see how many visitors I was getting. I will admit though, I wasn't actually calculating the percentage that were converting because I was getting enough to where I just, I just didn't care. I was more worried about, are people actually hitting my website? And then knowing that I was getting the number of clients that I needed each month, I was like, okay, this is working for me. SEO is good. So, and yes, I agree with you on content marketing. I mean, I will say, I don't want to say I'm a rare breed, but most people don't focus on SEO because they think it's hard. They don't like to blog. They don't know what to say. I mean, all of the things, right? So a lot of people go for like what they see as the low hanging fruit, which would be like Instagram. Like if I put my pictures on Instagram enough, clients will come, which I'm not going to say that's, bad, but in my case, that definitely isn't where I get my clients. And it's not something that, I would do. But Celi, for the people who are Instagram people, what is the metric that they should be measuring in terms of using Instagram as their marketing tool?
Well, I'm going to say two things to that. One, I do want to recognize that you're the anomaly because very rarely do I ever meet someone who said, yes, I did that in my business. I tracked those things. So good job. Because I think we also need to recognize that, right? Because it is super easy. It is super simple. And it's like this thing we avoid doing. For Instagram, I agree with you. I actually think it's quite difficult to convert on Instagram unless you have a following that's specific to your niche and what you do, and they are following you because of what you do. I have a lot of clients. I've probably in the past, I was doing some math the other day, and in the past 3 years, because I used to be a head coach at a company, I've worked with over 100 clients. And I just say this because it's true. And some of my clients, and some of them have a big presence. Really only one of my clients converts real sales off of Instagram. And she has 120K followers.
Absolutely.
So I don't say that to be a jerk. I say that because take a breath. If your Instagram isn't converting into sales, it's okay, baby girl. It's okay. It's okay. You're not alone. Right? And what I would say here's how I approach Instagram, because I make really funny reels about business and whatever. My rule is Instagram is fun. And I do it if it's fun. And if I'm not in the mood and not feeling it, I don't do it. But I make tons of content on there, and I don't really convert people from Instagram either. So I would take a really hard look at, where have my clients come from? Let me look at the past 3 months in my business. You don't need to complicate this. Put it on a piece of paper. Let me just list them out by name. Who were my clients? If you have a CRM or you have a system that shows you, great, but you don't need all that. Last 3 months, here are my clients. Cool. Next column, where'd they come from? Cool. What is the highest place or tool or whatever converting,
Mhm.
that's where you need to be focused on to get clients. And what often happens is we fall into seduction. We fall into the seduction of all these marketers who are selling us on their marketing programs and their content marketing programs because, hey, guess what? You're being sold to by an expert marketer
On the tool of their choice.
on the
Yes.
tool of their choice. And they're selling you their content marketing framework or course or mastermind and convincing you. And some of them are really good. I'm not like dogging anyone, but remember, you're observing someone in their zone of genius telling you, buy my course and you can do this too. But by the way, I make money off of this because I have 20K followers, 30K, 90K, 100K, right? They make great content. It's really seductive,
It
right?
is.
And so we fall into this seductive trap. And not just on Instagram, this happens in a lot of other areas, right? Like the mastermind that's going to get me PR and press, and that's going to be the secret. I have clients who have PR and press and don't have sales, right? It comes down to the reason I say I never build, there's no one size fits all strategy is because it's like, hey, let's take a look at your business. Let's take a look at where your clients have been coming from. What do we learn from that information? Cool. Now let's build a strategy based on what's actually
Those people.
working
Mhm.
and those people, and how do we find more of them, and where do we find them, and how do we talk to them. And maybe it ends up being Facebook groups. Maybe it ends up being networking local communities. Maybe it ends up being doing more gallery shows. Maybe it ends up being that you speak at more, whatever it is, right? Oh, those two clients were like perfect for me and they were ideal. Where did they come from? Referrals? Amazing. Cool. Double down, right? And that's the strategy that is actually going to create growth. And the reason it's become so hard is because we are literally being sold to every day that growth starts in marketing and that growth starts if you just buy this other course. Clients from, and because they were coming from this particular group, all of those clients ended up being really, for lack of a better word, difficult, and kind of the clients that go out of scope, that are like, yeah, but can you also do this? And but can you also do this? Can you also add that? Can you extend that? And I'm like, we had a contract and like my deliverables are super clear and I've like gone above and beyond for you. That's also a mindset thing. When people ask for more and more and more, that's just where they're at in their mindset. But I just made a decision when I was like, oh, right, I'm just not going to get clients from that group anymore.
But if you didn't have the data, you wouldn't have known that that was where the difficult clients were coming from. And you wouldn't have known that, hey, maybe I need to stop advertising. I mean, it's not even advertising. Maybe I just need to stop participating in that group, or maybe I need to stop mentioning my services in that group. Because
Yeah.
you can still be in a Facebook group and get value for yourself without wanting to get clients from that particular area. So I just want to put that out there, because one of the things that we discuss in terms of VIP days and stuff is, well, how do I get clients from the Facebook groups where I know that my ideal clients are hanging out in? And, there are ways to do it, but also you should make sure that if you are in groups where it will not be an ideal client, that you are not actively trying to gain clients from that area. I mean, I just want to put that out there because I think that people feel like wherever you are, you have to constantly be selling. But again, go back to your piece of paper that Celi told you to write all of your clients and where they came from. And if you have clients that are great and they all seem to be coming from one particular area, one particular marketing strategy, guys, double down on that one. But if you are also able to identify areas where you are not seeing the ideal clients that you want, slowly walk away, close that door.
Yeah. And I'm going to add to that because I always get pushback because my clients always love to give me some pushback. So for all of you who are like, okay, I did the exercise and it's across the board equal, right? Like I have 2 from here, 2 from here, 2 from here, 2 from here, 2 from here. So your system doesn't work. Cool. Step 2 of the system is, which of those clients did you enjoy the most working with and which of them was more ideal? Step 3 of that is, which of those marketing channels or platforms do you enjoy being the most
The
active in?
most. Mm-hmm.
So it's layered, right? So don't tell me, oh, it's all equal or they're from all over the place. No, then just take it another step deeper, go another step deeper, and then you get to, oh, got it. I should be focusing in on just really doubling down on my SEO and my blog, or I should really be doubling down in these types of Facebook groups, or I should be really doubling down in masterminds or whatever.
So I'm going to take this one step back because I think what we've been talking about thus far is growing your business or growth strategy related to bringing in more leads or more qualified leads.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just one part of it. Is there a point where
True.
you talk about the growth strategy with the clients that you already have? Because I feel like a lot of people just associate growth with getting more clients. Getting more leads will get you more clients, but very few people are actually looking internally at the business that you have now to figure out how you can grow your business with what's already there. Because
Mm-hmm.
audience, if you haven't heard me say this yet, it's a treat because I say this all the time. It is easier to get people to pay you if they've already paid you. Like if you're trying to grow your business and you have clients where you've had one offer and maybe you have another offer for them,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be easier to get them to say yes than it is, some random person who just inquired in your business. So, Celi, anything that we should be thinking about when we are talking about the business that we already have and the client roster or the leads that may have inquired and not actually
Mm-hmm.
booked?
Yeah.
What should we be looking at for those people?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm so glad you said this because you might have heard me say this, but I always say growth actually begins in fulfillment, which is why I talk about stop stressing out and focusing so much about your marketing, because
Mm-hmm.
real growth begins in fulfillment. So really growth begins with number one, having a product that really delivers the result you promised. Okay. Number one, if you aren't getting great testimonials, great feedback, referrals from people because they loved working with you, start at the beginning, which is the product and what's the result you're promising, and do you actually deliver that result? I would be remiss if I don't start at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Then number two, referrals. Then number three, what you're talking about is the LTV of your customers. So the lifetime value of your customers, right? LTV is kind of tied with retention. So it depends on your product and what you're offering. If you're offering a model that people can continue with you or take course level number 2 or course level, that's retention, right? How do you
Mm-hmm.
retain them? And if you have a subscription based model or a community, how do you create retention systems, right? So I do work on that with my clients. It's like, what is our retention plan here and how are we creating systems to retain?
Plan, yes.
Yeah, so I actually create retention plans and I create LTV plans with my clients. I can give you an example. Like one of my clients has a VA consulting, a VA firm,
Mm-hmm.
and she gives people VAs either for admin work, but also to do outreach work. So for the outreach clients, we create a monthly beautiful report that we send to the client, right? And that report shows them, here's all the work we did, here's all the outreach we did for you, here's all the DM conversations we had, here's how many of them converted into calls, and of those calls, these are all the people that showed up to your calls, and of those calls, this is how many you closed. You're welcome. So that's a retention plan,
And
right?
data just given to
Because
you. Oh
you
my
get, so
goodness.
like you create that report for the client because business gets emotional and people go, I don't know why I'm paying for the service. I feel like I didn't get any new clients this month. So at the end of the month, every month we get a little boop report in your inbox going, this is what we did for you this month. Want to retain? Right? There's a lot of ways to approach retention. And then what you were talking about is LTV, which is the lifetime value of your customer. Okay, they already bought this, they got a great experience. I have these 3 other packages that I can always come back to them and say, hey, it's this time of year. You might want to do a family photo shoot for Christmas.
Mhm.
Book it in now. Here's that package, right? Or have you ever thought about doing a Valentine's Day photo shoot for your honey? Whatever, like what it is, whatever your other packages are,
Mhm.
your happy clients are the ones that you want to be returning to. And
Yes.
in like the photography world, I worked with an amazing photographer in New York City, which is why I have all these like ridiculously gorgeous
Branding photos.
headshots of myself, which I'm always like, I feel like that's not doing me justice, because then I feel like people meet me on video and they're like, oh, you're not a professional model. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But people ask me for they're like, who was your photographer? Right. And I send him people
Good referrals.
all the time. Yeah. And he has one package, one deal, but he's so amazing. But literally, I was on a podcast with somebody who lives in LA, and she was like, I'm going to be in New York on such and such week. Can you connect me with your photographer?
Oh, yes.
And I was like, oh, yes. So do not underestimate the value of doing a great job
In fulfillment. Yes.
in fulfillment. Like, also, he's just a gem to work with. He's such a lovely person. He's done editorial work for Vogue, which is why he made me look so good. But he's also just like hilarious and fun. And so I'm always like, yes, please call Paul. He's just a gem of a person and an artist through and through, and will blow your socks off,
Yes.
And he doesn't even ask me for it. I've sent him so many people.
But you're such you are a satisfied customer that I'm
Yes.
sure that when you need your next set of branding photos, you're going to return to him, which
I
is
know. I kind of want to return to him and be like, can you make me not look so good? Because I feel, can we do like a photo shoot where it's like a little more like real me? Because I just feel like.
Well, you know what, Celi? I do think everybody needs a good mix. And, traveling for the branding photos, like I traveled to San Diego this year in June because there was a photographer in San Diego that I wanted to work with. And yesterday, I literally just booked a second branding session for this year, and I'm going to see somebody in Dallas. So, yes, I am someone. And technically, that was word of mouth referral because she just did a branding shoot for one of my business besties. And I was like, oh, I'm totally going to hire Amanda. Okay. And then yesterday I did it. So, absolutely. So, when we're thinking about the retention and the growth plan, is there, like, first of all, let's back up, Celi. So, how should people be tracking these? Like, do you have a tool or a, like, kind of table that someone should set up to track the growth, these metrics that we're talking about throughout their business?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you talking about just the referral, the like
Well, just
internal
in general.
tracking? Oh
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
Like we told them to put it on a piece of paper, right?
Hmm.
Column one, column two. But like, I don't know about anybody else listening, but I can't keep tracks of pieces of paper. Like
Yeah.
no one should see my office right now. It is quite the horror show. So once you're writing these things down and you're reviewing them, like where is it that we could be entering this information so that we can look at, okay, well, this is what it showed in Q1. And now this is what we have in Q2. Because I do think it's worth saying, guys, Celi is not telling you to do this one time a year and then move on.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
this is
absolutely.
something that you should be writing down. I mean, in my opinion, no less than every quarter. Every quarter, you should be writing down all your clients, where they came from, because you will see that in Q1, if you had people coming into your business from ABC and you decided to double down on B, in quarter two, you should,
You
of
better be
course, do the
measuring
exercise
that.
again to
Yeah.
see if your doubled effort
Yeah.
towards marketing channel B actually led to more leads, more qualified leads, more closing, all of those things that we've been talking about calculating and kind of keeping track of.
Okay. So I love this question because I get asked this a lot. And I give a very frustrating answer, but this is my honest answer. I am a systems person, and I say, yes, please track that in the system of your choice.
Hmm.
And here's why: because I want you to use it.
Yes.
So I've built that out for myself in ClickUp. I have clients who do it in Airtable because love Airtable. I have clients who don't use any PM tools or CRM tools yet. And for those clients, I build them a dashboard in Google Sheets.
Google Sheets, yeah. That was I knew you were going to go there because, of course, I know
I
what the
built
back end of your business looks like.
Oh, that's right, because you've seen it. So
Right.
when someone doesn't have a system that they already use, I'm like, don't worry. We do not need to suddenly go and learn ClickUp or suddenly go and learn Airtable, right? I'm going to make you a dashboard, and here's these columns we've been talking about, and I make you fill it in every Friday or every Monday, because you know I'm looking at that.
I know you are.
I'm looking at your sheet, because then when we have, for my recurring clients, for my retainer clients, every week I'm like, tell me the numbers, girl. But my rule is I want you to use a system that you're going to actually open and look at. I have somebody doing it in Notion right now because she just loves Notion. I am particularly like Pipedrive as a sales tool. It's like, it does everything I want it to do. It does projections, it does conversion. I do try to, I tell people, like, check out Pipedrive if you like it. I have 2 clients who've implemented it. I have another client who uses Odoo, and she's made Odoo do what Pipedrive would do. I have another client who uses something Podio. Like, I work with every system. And the reason why is because I want you to actually track it. And I want it to be fun. And one of my clients, the last week, I literally started weeping on our call.
It takes a lot to make you weep, Celi.
And it takes
that must have been
lot.
Amazing.
I was like, I am getting emotional right now. And she was just like, oh my God. And I was so sad that I didn't record this call, because it was like, I wanted proof in the world that this is the shit that makes me cry. She's somebody who actually came to me, and she hates numbers and avoids numbers and avoids looking at her numbers, and makes her really uncomfortable. And I showed her in Google Sheets what I wanted her to track and what I wanted her to look at. And I wanted her to have healthy projections in her business and know what's coming and know what money's coming in. She has a big business now. She came to me at 0. And she just came to me. She's like, I took the weekend. She's like, I am an Airtable person. It works for me. It makes sense to me. I built out your thing in Airtable, and I'm going today to report my numbers to you and tell you where we're at week over week, financially, month over month, what I can expect to come in here. And I was looking at her Airtable, and I was like,
it's so beautiful.
I was like, oh my God, I'm crying. And she was just like, what just happened?
I know.
Because it's like, I don't care where you do it, but do you understand the beauty of this person was in debt and scared of numbers? And now she has this thing where she's like, I can tell you where we're at this week. I can tell you what's coming in next week. I can tell you when I can pay my team. I can tell you like how October, November, December is projected to look. So I now know how hard I need to work to hit my goals. And I was just like, my work here is done. She's grown up. She doesn't need me anymore. Like, I was literally like, I should have been recording this call. I'm literally tears.
Well,
she laughed so hard. She was just like, you are the biggest weirdo. And I'm like, I know, but you don't understand. You don't understand.
Celi, first of all, I need you to walk away from this podcast knowing you have to record all calls. I don't want to ever hear you say again that you didn't record a call. I hit record on every single call, because you literally never know when someone is going to give you an amazing testimonial. You never know when they are going to say that one thing that's like, oh my God, that needs to go in all of my marketing. So Celi,
I know it was one of those like, I don't need our full session today because I have a sales call at the 30-minute mark, but I just wanted to show you what I did. And I was like, okay, sure. Let's hop on for 30 minutes and we'll catch up later. And I was just like, oh my God. I cannot.
And second, I want to say earlier, I said there's a lot of power in your own data. So now I'm going to slightly tweak that. And I'm going to say there is great power in knowing and understanding your own numbers. Yeah. Because the one mistake that I see a lot of people make when they go and they outsource their bookkeeping is that then they never look at their own numbers. Like, it's like, no, I'm paying a professional to do it. Like, they're taking care of it. I'm
so glad you said that, because I know some amazing bookkeepers, but this is my rule with all my clients and myself included. I want you to know how to do it, and I want you to understand it, and then we can give it back to a bookkeeper.
Yes.
I'm fine with that,
Absolutely.
but I want you to know how, if you use QuickBooks or if you use Xero or what, I want you to know how to reconcile, and I want you to know how to use it. And then I'm happy for you to give it away, because here's the thing. I've had so many clients who are close to 7 figures or beyond, and they have non-profitable businesses and no one's told them. They have an accountant, they have a bookkeeper, they have somebody else doing it. Because here's the thing, guys, your accountant and your bookkeeper is not a business strategist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not their responsibility to say, hey, you kind of you're running like hand to mouth every month.
Do you know that?
Do you know that? You might want to work with somebody to look at that. Like, I am surprised now in my framework. It used to be that I looked at profitability if I felt it was something we needed to address. Now I just address it with everyone, because I was
Yes.
shocked at how even a $2 million business was not profitable, or someone who thinks she's killing it because she's going to end the year at $700K, but like can't pay her bills next month. You're not killing it if
your
you are
profitability is
not
in the toilet.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
sometimes, that's again measuring the wrong thing. Just looking at revenue, just looking at new leads, closing to sales, just looking at revenue, and not looking at all the internals, right? So I agree with you. I think there's some amazing bookkeepers out there, and I have one that I recommend to people. And you do need to understand your numbers, and you need to understand, is your business profitable, or did you just give yourself a full-time job that you're probably working in harder because it's yours?
So, Celi, I got one question that we're going to close this out with that I ask everyone. And that is, tell us about your biggest fuck up in your business. What did you learn from it? And what did it cost you?
Amazing. I never get asked this, and I'm so honored that you would ask, because it's a really important one. So I'm really old. I've been in business for like 25 years. And
but you're not old. Continue.
I say that because people are like, what do you know? And I'm like, well, I've been in the business for a long time. My first business I started in my early 20s in Argentina, and I started a clothing line for a niche market that I saw really needed its own thing. It was a beautiful experiment, and it started to do well and take off. So I made 2 mistakes in this business. And I say this because it's so, 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 so important. I was young and proud, and hubris might have played a part, because I'm very smart and I'm very nerdy. And when I was younger, I thought I knew everything. I know better now. So number one, I thought I knew everything. I know now that I don't know everything, and I'm happy to not know everything, and I'm happy to be wrong, and I'm happy to be proven wrong, and I'm happy to learn. When I was younger, I did everything in this business. That was mistake number one. I wore every single hat. I made the patterns. I made the sample. I sewed a lot of the pieces. I did my marketing. I went to events and sold at events, at trade shows, at like industry events. I ran a boutique. I saw clients. I fitted clients.
I'm exhausted with you giving me that list.
I always say I never partied and I never drank in my 20s because I ran a business. That's the truth. I didn't start drinking until my 30s because I was like, I was too busy in my 20s. I worked 7 days a week throughout, like from the age of 24 to 33, I worked 7 days a week. So that was mistake number one, was thinking I could do it all. And what happens when you think you can do it all and you're doing all the things because you're such a superstar and you're whatever, you ignore things like the metrics. Mm-hmm. And I had a mentor of mine who taught me a lot about business, and he, poor man, talking to me was probably like talking to a wall. And he's such a lovely, lovely man, and still a mentor to me today. But he tried to teach me about metrics and numbers. And I'd be like, this new dress, people are loving it and I'm killing it. And he's like, cool. How many did you sell this week versus last week? Right. And I'd be like,
and you're like, I don't know.
People love it though. I'm going to make 100. And he's like, are you sure you can make 100? Do you have an
Are you
audience?
sure you can sell 100?
Do you have the audience to sell 100? Like, yeah, this is my best-selling dress. Like, what are you talking about? So basically he was trying to get me to like stop doing all the things, like hire some junior level assistants so that you can start looking at the numbers and the metrics and like run your business like a business. And my God, I fought him. I fought that for years. So those are my two mistakes, is like thinking I could do it all. Just because you have energy and you're smart and you're smart, just because you're smart and you can doesn't mean you have to.
You should. Mm-hmm.
Right? And because I was so busy, here's what I see my clients do a lot. We purposely make ourselves busy to avoid the things we're not good at. And in my case, okay, so in my case, I was not good at numbers. This is why I love numbers so much. People think I'm a numbers person. I'm like, no, I went to art school. Okay. I have a fine arts degree and a fashion design degree before I ever got my MBA. The reason I fell in love with numbers later was because, the numbers are telling me the story of how my business is performing or not performing. And when I was able to see numbers in that way, they're telling me a story, the creative in me could go, that I can get down with. Okay, numbers, tell me the story. Give me the story. Okay. And now I teach numbers that way. But that was like my biggest mistake was, guys, whatever you're making yourself really, really busy with, when you catch yourself saying, I was too busy to,
that's the thing you need to work on.
That's the thing you need to work on. I was too busy to really sit down and ever look at my numbers, and that bit me in the ass in the end.
Okay. Celi, I love that we're ending on that story because it's amazing. If people want to follow you, find out more about your growth strategy services, where can they find you?
Funnest place to follow me is on Instagram because, I show up there for fun. I am Don Celia. And if you want to know how your business is performing and if your business is scalable, go take my quiz. It's just fun. It's for free. It's meant to help you. It's not a score telling you like you pass, fail. It's meant to help you know where you should be looking. Okay. And it's quiz.celiarias.com.
And I will have all of that in the show notes, guys. Celi, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I love you. Any opportunity to see more of your face is a good one. Thank you for coming on the podcast. And guys, I'll see you next time.